Hey guys, welcome back to Rudder Innovation, where today we're going to be fixing a Yamaha Outboard engine on our boat. Here we go. Now, I've made this repair over a year ago because I didn't want to post this video without being sure that it worked, but the reason I knew something was wrong with our engine, I came out and there's oil coming all down the bottom of the outboard and just pouring out and dripping on the ground. And when I took off the housing, I'll show you what caused it. You'll start by removing the housing. All right, once you take off the engine cover, you'll see your oil reservoir. And this is the oil level sensor, which was the culprit for us, which was causing all of the oil leak. What happens over time, from what I read online, is this oil level sensor will lose its elasticity and its ability to seal around the lip of the tank here, and it'll start leaking down into your engine and then down the side. And so in order to repair this, you're going to have to remove the tank. There are 3 bolts. There's one here, there's one at the top, and there's another one at the bottom that has a ground wire attached. So you'll want to make sure that the ground wire gets back on there whenever you reattach it. When you loosen those 3 or remove those 3 bolts, it'll allow you to tilt the reservoir, which will give you access to this oil level sensor. And if you have a higher oil level in here, you can use a siphon to remove it, or you can just tilt the tank over and empty it into a container. Whenever you do that, you want to make sure that this hose right here stays connected, or if it becomes disconnected, that you hook it back up before you put your new oil back in. So let's get started with the repair. So here's an oil level sensor for this outboard Yamaha. And one of the common issues with this that I've read on several online forums is that this starts leaking. So you'll notice oil coming all out of your motor just when it's tilted and being stored. And so the only fix that I saw online was a guy that used plumber's tape to go around both the outside diameter of this and the outside diameter of the actual oil level sensor right here. This is where it sits on the inside diameter of the tank hole, and then there's another part up inside of here that kind of goes around this lip right here. So I'm gonna try and do both, because that's the only thing that I saw that actually worked. Then we'll try and go back and use plumber's putty. I also read about people using hose clamps and zip ties, but they continue to have a minor leak. Plumber's tape was the only method mentioned that completely stopped the leak. Putting plumber's tape on the sensor was extremely easy, but putting it on the reservoir was a little more challenging because it kept wanting to slip off the lip of the tank. I was initially hesitant at using plumber's putty because typically it gets hard once it's been sitting a while, and I was afraid that pieces of it might fall inside the tank and affect the engine. But what I decided to do was put it below the actual seal so it doesn't fall inside. This way, any oil that might make it past the plumber's tape will be caught by the plumber's putty. Go ahead and take the reservoir and just tilt it out like this, and you can go ahead and take and slide in the oil level sensor. The most difficult portion of this repair was getting the sensor's rubber boot over the flange/lip on the oil tank. I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with this thing for about 5 to 10 minutes. I assumed that by pushing it down, it would have just slipped over the lip on the tank, but that just wasn't the case. If I had used some needle nose pliers to pull a portion of the boot over the lip, it probably would have been much easier, but instead I struggled to stretch it over with my oily fingers, which kept slipping. However, once I got a portion of it over, the rest slipped over quite easily. All right, now that we have it back on there, I'm gonna take the plumber's putty that I have on here and kind of push it up underneath the lip of this thing. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put our 3 screws on. There is a ground here that you can see. It's on the back side of this bolt. So go ahead and screw that back on. Get your top pull back on. And get your last one on over here. Okay. So once you got this bolt back on, this bolt back on, and that bolt back on with the ground, and you don't have any connections that were loosened as you pulled it off to remove this, you can go ahead and tighten these back up, put your cover back on, and we'll see if it leaks. It's been over a year since I've made this repair, and I'm noticing that the plumber's putty that I use is turning blue from oil, no doubt, and it's still kind of tacky, which is a little abnormal because plumber putty usually gets harder. So this probably isn't a repair that's going to last forever, but like I said, it's been great for over a year now, and so maybe one day it'll be time to replace the oil level sensor, but for now, we're going to keep it the way it is. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, comment below. If you liked it, like it, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace and God bless.